All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new player's guide to fighting the Jackal. So, the Jackal, at this point, with his updated mechanics, I think is going to be the first big hurdle that new players are going to encounter. So, we are going to talk about how to defeat the Jackal, and we're going to be using equipment, of course, that a new player is going to have access to do that. First and foremost, we are going to be using Excalibur in this video, but I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of difference in this strategy for any of the given starter Warframes, but we are going to be using Excalibur because he is, to my knowledge, the most chosen starter in the game. With that, for this, all you really need on your build is a decently ranked redirection. If this is only at 4 ranks or a little bit lower than this, you're going to be totally fine, but 6 would definitely be my advised. And then the runner-up in importance here is going to be Vitality. Neither of these need to be maxed or anything crazy like that, but just pump redirection as much as you can, as I think it is by far the most valuable mod for your Warframe in this fight early on. With that, that's all that's really important here, so let's talk about weaponry. The Bratton, I have it equipped here, but it's really not going to be used very much. This is an example of a build that you could throw on here, and what I would probably recommend for starting out players. But the thing that's really integral to this strategy that we're going to be using for fighting the Jackal is the Mark 1 bow. If you do not have a Mark 1 bow because you started with the Skana, I would highly advise you get this from the market. It's only 10,000 credits, and you get it right away, built and everything, and this is the build I would highly advise you use on it. The most important thing here is that with the Deadlock Protocol update, DE also put Clashing Forest on the relay from Earth to Venus, so you 100% guaranteed have this stance, and not only does this make it easier to mod your weapon, because this actually gives you points to use as opposed to takes points away, but also the Mark 1 bow is just strictly better than the Skana, in my opinion, and it will be a better time for you overall. Most important mods here in order are going to be Pressure Point. You definitely want to max this immediately as fast as you can and slot this in. Following up Northwind, pretty much just because you have the polarity for it. Also, fun fact, you're also going to get this from a relay, so you're guaranteed to have this. And then another elemental. Doesn't have to be Toxin, but whatever else you can fit in here is great. And then Fury. If you've got Fury, perfect. Throw it up, like level it as much as you can and put it in here. Going to be a good time. Definitely worth using here. So with all this in here, it should be pretty easy for you to take down the Jackal. You are still, of course, not going to be doing as much damage as someone who's fully kitted out, of course. But this is going to be perfectly serviceable for defeating the Jackal. So with that, let's just get to it. The Jackal is on Fossa, on Venus, and let's just jump in and fight this boy. Now, for this mission, the Lotus is going to attempt to explain to you what the Parazon is, but if you do not understand, the Parazon is the stabby thing that comes out of your arm that you use to hack terminals. You've probably used it if you're a new player once or twice, as you've been going through the star chart so far, but that is what the Parazon is. So, basically, you hit X to use the Parazon. That's really like the thing that it comes down to. And the Parazon symbol above enemies is that red symbol that you've probably seen pop up on a couple enemies that you've killed early on. With that, well, let's get started with this fight. So the basics of this fight are that his weak points are his big ol' legs. Each time you break one of his legs, he is going to try and proceed to the next phase by doing one of his big spin attacks, and you need to not die during his big spin attack and then use the Parazon on him. That's the basic breakdown, but in more detail, he always stomps at the beginning here, so jump over it. And try and get close to him to avoid his machine gun. So whenever these are red, they're dealing damage, so avoid them when they're doing that. In this first phase, you can just hide behind the pillars for as long as they are not blown up, but there are much more effective ways to avoid this. We just run up to him and proceed in phase, and we are going to get a new arena for phase 2 of his fight. Getting on to the second zone. So now in this zone, I'm going to show a couple of tactics you can utilize to not die. Once again, he's stomped, so we avoid that. He will start to stomp twice after you are on his halfway point. So now, multiple things you can do. You can jump and hover by aiming while you're in the air to get over these red walls. That's one way to do it. Also, you can roll into these. You can double tap shift by default to roll, and that'll give you 75% damage reduction, so his attacks won't do very much damage to you. And that's also something you can use anywhere, not just in this fight. Rolling at any time will always give you that damage reduction, so that's something good to remember for the future. And slapping him into phase 3. The cheese strat you can use is just to jump up here with parkour and jump against the wall while he's spinning around, and this is going to be the safest tactic you can employ. But if you're not very comfortable with your parkour skills just yet, it's perfectly acceptable to just use the rolling through the walls strategy, as that is probably a little bit simpler for people to do. Now, moving into his last phase, he's going to attack really fast, so don't feel bad if you die in his last phase, because very simply, like these big electrical fields and everything that he's put up just do a pretty good amount of damage. So, not a big deal if you go down, because you're going to have a number of revives, of course. But once we get his last leg hurt, we're just going to jump right back up here. And then after he comes out of this phase, you use the Parazon on him one more time, and the fight is finished. Hopefully, this has been very helpful to you in terms of learning some tactics to defeat the Jackal if you've been having trouble. Also, if you are a new player and you're watching this video, let me know if this helped you or if more things need to be explained, as I would love to know kind of where new players are at in terms of the difficulty with this boss fight, as I think this is going to represent the biggest spike in difficulty for most new players for a good portion of their early game. Not that I don't think will be very frustrating or anything, because I think this fight is quite good. But yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for this. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm just going to head to extraction and then get out of here. Yeah, be sure to let me know what you guys think of this video, and if there are any other tactics you may have found to defeat the Jackal. And also, for new players that want to know why you might be fighting the Jackal, you need to do it to get through the junctions, but also Rhino drops here. So you should farm Rhino if you're a new player. It is the first Warframe you can build after you get your starter Warframe, and he is very, very good. There's 3 parts to farm from the Jackal, and then you buy the blueprint from the market. But yeah, hopefully this video has been helpful. I will see y'all tomorrow.